All right. Welcome to another episode of What's Your Story? And who do we have here with us today?
Lamar Wilson.
Avast, you bilge rats, and you best be afraid. I have clapped your eyes on the scurviest sea dog to ever sail home. I am Captain Edward Teach, the dreaded Blackbeard.
Lamar Wilson, where you from, man?
I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida, but I spent most of my youth and growing up just outside of Dallas, a little town called Rockwall.
Okay. That's something I never knew. Okay. Yeah. That's what's up.
Oh, I got lots of stuff you don't know about.
So the way I start these interviews off, I usually explain why I bought someone on the platform, or if they, came to us or I came to them. I approached you about being on the platform. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know, but this is our 10th episode. I kind of wanted to do, or I wanted to have a guest that was, bigger than life, that was very well known in the area. And I felt like, you would be the perfect person to have on here.
You're too kind.
So we're just going to get this underway. We're going to start off with some questions for you. How long have you been acting, man?
I have been the first time I went on stage, I was 5 years old.
Oh, really?
So I have been doing it regularly since the 7th grade, but I've always wanted to act.
Okay.
That's been my lifelong dream.
What made you want to be an actor?
Here it comes.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to think I'm cheesy. All right. So in 1977, yes, I'm old. Y'all don't know how old I am. That's going to shock you too. In 1977, there's a little movie that came out called Star Wars.
Yeah.
And my dad took me to go see it. And I remember seeing the line around the theater. I lived in Alaska at this time. I was living in Anchorage, Alaska. Okay. And so I remember seeing that movie. And I still remember when Darth Vader spun out of control at the end, I'm like, oh, he's not dead. There's going to be a sequel. There's going to be another one. And I knew there was going to, because it was just too good. Yeah. And I went home to my mother and I said, Mama, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm going to be a Jedi. I'm going to fly a starship. I'm going to have a lightsaber. And like Luke Skywalker said, I want one that's red like Darth Vader because he's a badass. And I'm going to do it. And she goes, and she's laughing her ass off. She goes, honey, that's all make-believe. Those people are actors. I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I have done.
Yeah.
Here I am. Still doing it. I'm a working actor, one of the few.
Hey, and little did you know, Star Wars is, boy, they got so many movies now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that would be a lifelong dream. William would be pissed because he would say he hates Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, really?
When she's done Star Wars. But you know what? Were she to call me up, I'd take that phone call and that lunch in a heartbeat. Hell yeah.
So that actually leads on into my next question, which is perfect, actually. I was going to say, what are 3 movies that inspired you to start acting? Now, I know one is Star Wars. What are there any more?
I mean, Star Wars did. I'm just, that fired my imagination up as a kid. I've got a very vivid imagination.
Yeah.
Cindy goes nuts at home with me because I'm a kid. I wear Batman shoes for crying out loud. I'm a big kid. But the movies are really like Star Wars is what really did it for me. But when I think about other movies, the Indiana Jones, all the adventure stuff.
Oh, anything
Spielberg did. Everything Spielberg did.
You like action-packed movies.
I like the action movies, but, getting into acting, I love to watch a good performance. So there's several films that I have put into my collection that I love. Quentin Tarantino. Pulp Fiction, one of the best movies ever made. I love that movie. It never gets old.
Classic.
Yeah.
Super classic.
There's lots of them. But Star Wars, Indiana Jones, that whole thing is what that opened up a world of make believe to me.
Gotcha.
So, and it's fun to listen to that. Because I remember as a little boy listening to Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill in their interviews. I think I was the only kid in school who knew who David Prowse was. He was the guy in the Darth Vader suit who I got to meet. Meet in person. It was a lifelong dream. I lived in Hollywood for I don't know how many years. I have never been starstruck in my life. And I was speechless when I met the man.
Yeah.
What a gentleman. And he told me stories about the summer he filmed it. Nobody was around. I got to talk to this guy, my idol for you know, as a child for 20 minutes. I'm talking to Darth Vader. He's telling me how hot it was. He's a proper Englishman. You know, a very, very nice English accent. He's talking to you in a very grandfatherly, you know, appearance. Oh, God, it was a dream come true. He autographed his autobiography and a picture of him holding the helmet.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, so that of all the star moments, I've met a lot of celebrities. That was the one that really got me.
So since you've been acting, right? How many projects would you think how many projects would you say you've done? If you had to guesstimate.
If you were to look at my resume, I've been acting since I was 5. So first time I went on stage in a production, I was in the 7th grade. So I don't know. There's probably 100. There's got to be over 100 projects I've worked on over my life.
Yeah.
Most of it theater.
Yeah.
I did a lot of little bit stuff when I was out in Hollywood. Day player stuff. I remember when I met Cindy. That's a funny story too. We'll get into that in a minute. But she found out that I was on The Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh, really?
And I've come home from work to this day, and she said, in the living room watching The Bold and the Beautiful. And she quizzed me on the phone. She said, oh my God, you are The Bold and the Beautiful. Did you meet so-and-so? Did you meet so-and-so? How was this? What are they like? I'm like, honey, I was husband number 3 in Lamar's class. I was what you call an under 5. I had like 4 lines.
That's what's up, though.
Yeah.
That's what's up for real.
So yeah, you know, I've done a lot of work, a lot of commercial, most of everything I did is theater. I've got a degree in theater.
Yeah.
And I'm doing theater actively now. So.
And I see, it's funny because one of my questions, you already answered it without knowing it was a question. I was going to be like, have you ever taken your talents to Hollywood? But you just said you was in Hollywood for a while.
I did. When I went to school, I'll give you a little Reader's Digest. I went to school at Texas. I started at Texas Tech because my father wanted me to be a chemical engineer.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't want to be a chemical engineer. I wanted to be an actor. And of course, he told me that nobody was successful doing it. I still remember the conversation that I had with him. And he was like, nobody can do that. You're just going to waste your life doing that. And Jack Nicholson, and I remember them cutting the shot because the Oscars were on.
Yeah.
Cut to Jack Nicholson. And he's like, those people, they're all in an elite club. You'll never make that. And one thing about me is you don't tell me I can't do something because I'll figure out a way to do it. Just ask them at Pirates. That's Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But anyway, so I started at Texas Tech as an engineer, changed my major to theater, ended up getting a scholarship to Texas Wesleyan University from the Dean of Fine Arts there, who saw me in a high school production. Funny story is I called him up 2 years after he had seen this. I was a sophomore, failing miserably in engineering school and college because I hated it. And I called him up and I wanted to act. And I'm like, to hell with my dad and what he thinks.
Yeah.
And I called Papa Joe Allen Brown at Texas Wesleyan and said, do you remember me? I did the Elephant Man a couple years ago for Rockwell High School. He goes, yeah, I remember. I said, well, he had offered me a scholarship on the spot when he had given us a review. And I told him, no, I'm going to go do chemical engineering at Texas Tech. That's, what Dad says to do. So
yeah.
Anyway, so I said, do you remember me? He goes, yes, I remember you. And I said, is that offer still good? He goes, come talk to me. And the man gave me a scholarship. I had a 0.0 grade point average at Texas Tech for the semester because I was so miserable. And I still remember telling him, and I didn't take my father to go meet him. I took my high school theater director with me to go meet him.
Yeah.
And talk to him about the program there. And I told him, I said, I've got a 0.0 grade point average, dude. And it's a matter. And he goes, don't worry. I know what you can do. And I know you'll be successful. And I'll make sure that you are. The man gave me a chance. He's still at school. He's still at that school. I owe him a lot.
Yeah.
So, and my acting teacher is up in Wilmington that taught me over there. She teaches up here in Wilmington now at the college up there.
Yeah.
I keep trying to get her down to see the pirate show. I'm like, you're an hour away. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, that's fire, man. That's fire. So what difficulties have you faced being, in this career? What's some challenges?
Well, back up on my story because we'll get there.
Yeah.
So I go to college. I graduate from college. I get a degree in theater. My first big boy job, or my first paid acting gig, was at Six Flags over Texas.
Okay.
And I just gotten into Wesleyan, and it was a gunfight show. It was a comedy gunfight show. Hey, you know who I am? Who are you? My name is Bob. Bad Bob. B-A-D-B-O-B. Bob. Bob. Shut up, guys. Bob. Your name is Bob? Yes, Bob. That's a palindrome, ain't it? No, it's my name, stupid. Your name is stupid? No, it's Bob. Well, that's a stupid name. That's what we did, right? And believe it or not, if you listen to country music, there's a fellow by the name of Buddy Jewell that Clint Black. Yeah, there was a television show on the Country Network called Rising Star, Country Rising Star. Yeah. I worked with Buddy at the Six Flags show, the gunfight show at Six Flags, and Clint Black, Buddy Jewell won Country Music Star. I remember driving down the road. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm hearing this song. I love this song. I look down at the little satellite, says Buddy Jewell. I'm like, no fucking way. I used to work with this guy. Well, he had made it. So that was my first big boy job getting paid. And then I got the big boy job where everybody in college still, my college friends still call me Batman. Because I got cast in the Batman stunt show. I did that for years.
Yeah.
Directed them. That was fun, man. So it's running around in a cape and a rubber suit, driving Batmobiles and motorcycles and shit blowing up. Dude, that was like an awesome gig. Yeah, Batman shoes. Yeah. I'm Batman. Actually, now I'm Batbeard. But anyway. So I did that show for years. Ended up going to Holland with the same production company, doing like a Indiana Jones type of show, except the character's name was Nevada Smith.
That's funny. All right.
And I suffered my first setback in my career. I shattered my ankle in the middle of the show. So I had surgery over in Holland, and then they shipped me back over to the States, and I had another surgery two surgeries in the States. Got my ankle back, and then got back into the stunts. Ended up going out to L.A. What took me out there was another Batman stunt show, and this is back when Batman and Robin, the George Clooney god-awful Batman movie, came out. But we had the Batman and Robin stunt show, and it was a new show coming out with a movie. So that got me to L.A., and I did that show until 1998, where I broke my back in the middle of the show. You can still see the if you look at my back, you can see the scar tissue around it. I broke my back doing a ladder fall into the wrong mat over and over until it went crack.
Yeah.
And fractured 3 vertebrae. So that put me up. I was also working on a show called Air America with Lorenzo Lamas. I was his stand-in.
Okay. And
got working on JAG. If you remember, it's a long time ago, JAG. It was a television show on CBS. Military lawyers. You can still find it on some of the streams, the episodes. NCIS, if you know that show.
I definitely do.
That came from JAG. That was a spinoff of JAG.
JAG. J-A-G.
J-A-G, JAG.
I do know JAG.
Okay.
They used to come on when I was a little kid.
Yeah. I worked on that show for, I want to say 6 years. It was a master class.
That's fire.
Everything you need to know about camera work. So I did that for years, and then I started getting little bit parts here and there. Got 18 Wheels of Justice. Terrible television show. There was a Super Bowl commercial with a Diet Coke guy that had no shirt on. Sonny something, I can't remember the guy's name. He's the guy that got cast. It was the Super Bowl Diet Coke shirtless guy got his own television show. But the cool part about it was Billy D. Williams was in the show. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to work with Lando Calrissian. I never got to work with him on set because we didn't have the same scenes, but it was cool to have that Lando Calrissian connection. I wish I could say I met him. I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah.
But I did that, and I started gaining some traction in some different things. When CSI was out, the biggest heartbreak I had in Hollywood was I lost CSI as a pilot for a series regular for the role of Nick.
Oh, really? Oh, that is wild. That's crazy.
And that one hurt more than anything. And you know why it hurt so bad? Because it wasn't my talent. Because I had the opportunity to corner casting at a later date and go, what happened?
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking destroyed this.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, you don't want to work for them anyway. But you're too tall. I was too tall.
So you lost it because you were tall?
I lost it because Bill Peterson, the star of the show, didn't really want to work with anybody taller than him.
What?
And so the guy that got the part was George Eads, who had the role of Nick all the way through the show.
That matters that much?
Yeah. Well, shit, ask Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, I heard he's super short.
Yeah. That's all right. He got enough money to look tall.
Yeah.
But, so I didn't get it. That broke my heart. But little things like that happen, in the business. But 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And then the anthrax thing happened right after it. And everything in Hollywood came to a screeching halt for me. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get any auditions, couldn't do anything. So I wanted to work. I went working for wireless. I like gadgets. So I started working for AT&T Wireless business accounts. Yeah. Started doing well. Figured if I'm not going to act anymore, I'm going to move closer to where my family is. So that took me to Charlotte. I quit acting for 7-8 years. Worst mistake I ever made in my entire life. Basically wasted 13 years in Charlotte with a wasted marriage and let's just say I made a lot of bad choices in women, in career, and in a lot of things. I made a lot of bad choices. I ended up homeless, penniless, my family turned their back on me. I lost the woman I was engaged to, her 2 kids, which were very close. So I've taken them as my family. I lost everything, man, everything. I had 2 garbage bags full of clothes and a broken down Buick. And I took off with my tail between my legs and to try to find myself, and went down when I try to breathe again. But I, again, made a lot of anger there, a lot of bad decisions. And I did a lot of things that I'm probably not real proud of. And if you ask me if I regret anything, it taught me experience. So I can't say I have regrets. There's things I would definitely not do again. And if I could go back and tell my younger self and say, hey, think again and don't act so rationally. But I got an opportunity now after everything that happened to kind of reflect on that, and I try to pay it forward. Josh had a temper tantrum last night. Yeah. And so I got to play kind of the Jedi Master to the Padawan and calm him down a little bit about something. And it makes you think, it just makes you think as you get older. I'm 54, by the way. As you get older, your mind changes. You think of things differently. So I was down about as low as I could be in Dallas in 2016. And I was ready to pull a pin. I was like, I'd gotten another acting job. They fired me because my car was so broken down, but I never missed a gig. I may have been late, but I was always there, but I got fired because I was not dependable. I made a girl look bad in front of a client at one of the jobs that I worked, which is a different story, but that's why we got fired. That woman talked to me after that gig like no human being has ever talked to me. But I digress. That one did it. And I was like, if I can't act, I got nothing. And I was ready to pull the pin. And I had a friend of mine in Dallas who said, she got me a subscription to, what the fuck is it? Backstage, acting rag you submit to. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this one more time. It's my New Year's resolution. And I was ready to give up. I said, I had saved all of these submissions and never put out for anything. And so I went through all these submissions and I put everything out. Pirates Voyage was one of them. I got a call a couple of weeks. It was like mid-January when I got the call from the entertainment director. And he had hired me 25 years earlier in Florida, and we couldn't put it together. He hired me at Disney. And we figured it out after he hired me, and he was, oh, God, there it is. No, I understand. But anyway, out of nowhere, he calls me up, man. I'm in my underwear drinking coffee and, trying to figure out, what am I going to, in a spare, I have no address. I'm in somebody's spare room. I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, are you busy? I was like, well, no, I was just stepping out of a production meeting. Oh, you actually caught me at a good time.
Yeah.
And he started talking to me. I hear this woman in the background. I said, what is that noise? He goes, oh, that's Dolly Parton. What? He goes, yeah, it's Dolly Parton. We're putting down tracks. I'm working for this other show. That's why I'm calling you. It was a lumberjack show at that time up in Pigeon Forge. And he goes, that's why I'm calling you. I'm looking for that. I got this thing with Pirates. I'm going to send you some stuff. Put it down. I got to get back into the studio and finish doing this because she's calling me. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like,
yeah.
So they sent me, Mark Duke sent me a package of stuff out. They sent me a contract. And my luck had been so bad. I was just like, okay, yeah, this somebody's punking me, right? Yeah. They called me and they're like, are you coming? I was like, oh my God, you guys are serious. Okay. And I remember getting here, Richard Ty was on your program.
Oh yeah.
And he was the first person I met in the cast. And when they sat me down to see the show, he was right in front of me performing. And I thought, I did. I started crying. I was like, this is fantastic. I'm in my 8th year now. I've done 2,266 shows, I think, is where I am to date. I was supposed to be here for 6 months. I would say I'm dependable. I got fired from that acting job in Dallas because I was not dependable. But Ty was the first person I saw. I cried, and I was like, wow, okay. And for the past 7 years, this job has been a lifeline. If I ever get to meet Dolly, I'm going to tell her, you don't know this, but you saved my life. Pirates did. It saved my life, and it's put my life back on track. Cindy, my other half, she was dating him when I got here. Well, they had problems or whatever, and I didn't realize they had broken up, and she just called me out of the blue one night. You've heard of twin flames, if you're anything spiritual. I honestly think she's my twin flame. I met this woman in person. It's like I've known her for years. And to this day, we go outside, we come home from work, we talk for hours. She's my best friend. Best thing that ever happened. I've got a family now. I've got a course. She's got 2 wonderful kids. William, I got working at Pirates now. Yeah. Lily is a prodigy child. It's like, my life. And I remember thinking back when things were so hopeless for me, going, how is this ever going to get better? And now I think back and I remember the pain. I remember the pain, but I also know that'll never happen again. I've come so far to get back up, and I don't even remember who that person was.
Yeah.
So she's been wonderful for me. And, I got Pirates. I've been doing this. I've been the head guy here. Corporate wanted me to go down and represent for the new property, which, for 7 years. That's respect.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot to me to be asked to go down and do that. I've got a feature film that will come out in July.
Yeah.
Starring role.
Okay.
I got a starring role.
So I like
in a theatrical production with Pirates. 22. I'll be at 2,500 before the year's out. Check the box for. I'm top billing, by the way, in this. So I've got a top billing starring role in a movie. And we will see. The other thing that I've always wanted is to be a series regular in a television show. It is looking like it may happen.
Yes, sir.
So we got that. I got the marker out, man. I'm ready to check that box too. So we've shot the pilot. The pilot's in the can. We're going to see if Netflix wants it. He's working on the other 8 episodes for the first season, writing them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like it before. I can't give too much of it away.
Yeah.
But it takes place in the Old West. At least the pilot episode does. It is a part of a lifetime. This character has so many layers. He's a bounty hunter, so to speak. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's happened in 7 years. I went from nothing to, I'm not wealthy. I don't have a lot of money. We struggle. Everybody struggles right now. But man, the wealth and the love and just the things that have come into my life, man, it's a good time to be alive right now.
Yeah, man. Hey, I love that. That's I will say this, that's really the purpose of this channel, man.
Yeah.
Stories just like that.
Yeah.
You were struggling, you had a dream, you got away from that dream, you went back to it, fell on hard times, but you never gave up throughout this whole story. And now look where you're
I
at.
almost did.
Almost, but you
Almost
didn't.
did.
But you didn't.
It was like the universe said, all right, stop.
Yeah.
He's done. He can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
But now that you reflect on it a lot, or now that I reflect on it, a lot of that shit I did to myself.
Yeah.
And we figured that shit out.
Yeah, like you said, the older we get, sometimes we do self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody in this room is guilty of that, to be honest.
We all do it. We all do it. And I think what we need to do is grow. Like I said, I did a lot of stuff that I'm not real proud of it, but it was experience.
Yeah.
I learned from it. I felt things that I'd never felt before. I don't know that I want to go back into that place, but
yeah.
Okay. That was cool.
Yeah.
I've done that. Move on.
Exactly.
We don't want to do that.
On the better things.
Now.
On the better things.
Yeah.
So I did a little research. I saw that you write a little bit too.
You found my blog.
Yeah. So
that's that blog. I call it Splinter of the Mind's Eye, based on a novel. There was a novel that came out after Star Wars, and I think I said on there I had a really cool quote, or it was something that I wrote describing what it was.
Yeah.
But that is a blog to remind me of the struggle I went through, because I would write, I couldn't act. Anytime I've had, any kind of trauma in my life, theater's been there. I've been able to. I go to the stage. She welcomes me. The theater welcomes me, holds me, and lets me work through shit. And I didn't have that. So writing was the only other thing that was helping me, because I was alone in my head, overly. I was self-medicating in the worst way, and that fucks with your head.
Yeah.
So I wrote, and a lot of those stuff will keep you up, and I just, I'd write till I'd exhaust myself. But yeah, that lets you into my mind a little bit on where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Not there anymore, but it's good to look and say, okay, let's see where I was, and I've come a long way. We ain't doing that again. You're a better person than that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Being that you went to writing when you didn't have theater, have you tried writing any scripts, or have you ever tried writing any projects?
I want to write a book.
Okay.
Chronologuing this crazy demise that I went through. And just one of the things that I did to survive, I ran to Florida for some reason. I mean, I was living in a shed and driving for Uber. And trying to, survive. And I was telling this guy this story. It was a long drive all the way to Fort Myers from St. Pete. And it was an hour and a half. And I went on an hour and a half of this crazy shit that my life was. He was like, wow, truth is stranger than fiction. You should write that down. I mean, I'm talking about my ex-wife going ape shit on a international flight, making international news. I saw this shit on BBC.
Yeah.
to say stuff that happened, losing everything and everybody and having nowhere to go, no, nothing. Man, being on the street, homeless people, doing things with and being friends with felons. I'm not being judgmental. I learned a lot. I mean, some of these people, I'm still friends with a lot of people. One of the things that came back that I thought was very cool, his name is Heath. And he and I probably got into shit that we shouldn't have done. But years later, he had gotten on Facebook and seen everything that I had done with pirates. He'd been in prison. And he found me. He goes, dude, I cannot tell you how much you inspire me. I thought you were a goner, dude. I really didn't think you were going to make it. And I've been away for the past 4 or 5 years, and I've been wanting to make my life better. I come out, I see what you've done. And for him to say that, man, that touched me. And I try to tell the kids this and teach the kids this at home. It's like, we are all like stones, and everything around us is like glass water. And when we jump into it, all those ripples, we don't know who it's going to touch, and it's going to touch somebody. And there's so many people that we don't know how we touch. So we have to be very careful with how we present ourselves. And I keep trying to tell the kids, come from a place of love and joy. Try to keep that anger, because you don't want to come from a place of anger. And we all get angry. I get angry. You see me at work. I get pissed off about something. And you got to teach yourself to let that go and come from a different place, because it disarms the anger. And you also, I don't know. It's where the world needs to go. People can communicate better that way. Problems get solved that way. People don't fight.
Yeah,
as long as everybody respects one another, right?
Yeah. You got to lead with respect. That's what I like to say for myself. Anyway, you have to lead with respect.
Exactly.
Sure.
But you want to, I think a true mark of a human being is not how much money they have, not what conquests they've had or magnificent feats. I think what measures a man or a woman, a human being, after we leave is how we've touched people. What we've left behind, the joy and the love that we have left behind that still impacts people, that they carry with them and they can give to people on. It's that ripple effect.
Yep.
That's what makes a good human being.
That's what it's all about.
Amen.
That's what it's all about. And I keep going back to this, but that's literally why I tell people I started this. I always tell people when I'm not here anymore, because we all got the same fate at the end of the day. When I'm not here anymore, I want other generations to look, and I just want to, it just made me feel good to know that I left something positive that could maybe help somebody else. Yeah. So yeah, that goes hand to hand what we do here. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
I thought about that when I was reading up on your stuff. I was like, yeah. This is perfect.
Trying to do the right thing. Yeah, for sure. So this is coming to a close. So we have a tradition here. You kind of already did it low key, but if there's anything else positive or motivating that you would like to say, really to anyone, people in your career path, or really just anybody, you know what I'm saying? Anything you want to say to help inspire or motivate them that you haven't said already, just look into this camera here and talk directly to them.
I would say, don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do something. Don't let anybody ever stand in the way of your dreams. And you yourself, especially, don't stand in the way of your dreams. You can manifest what you want. You manifest it through love, through joy. And if you see it, if you can see it in your mind, you can make it happen. That's what I say. Live the dream. Don't ever give up on dreams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that wraps up another episode of What's Your Story?
All right.